Peace and welcome to another episode of the Digital Recipe Podcast, where we discuss albums and what they mean to us. I'm your host, DJ Atlas, and today's special guest is none other than DJ Archie Wonder. Hope you enjoy.
What's going on, bro? It's DJ Archie Wonder out of Baltimore. As Theo said, we went to St. Francis Academy.
Mm.
Neither one of us hoop because, we had ACL injuries at the time. So, otherwise we'd be Jordan and Kobe out there. But, we both in the music. We found our ways, different paths. And we here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Archie, you a DJ, man, and I know that this question is a difficult question as far as just picking one album and talking about that one album, because you probably have a long list of just albums in your head that you could go days and days talking about, I'm sure. So the very difficult question, beginning with this difficult question is, what album are we talking about today?
It wasn't actually that hard the more I thought about it. There's albums that I would rank quote unquote higher, or albums that I might even favor more.
Mhm.
But I feel like an important one to really talk about is Carter 2. The Carter 2. And
Okay.
we were around each other during that time. That was
Yes, sir.
'05.
Yes, sir.
So it was one of those things where I always look at it. I wasn't the biggest Lil Wayne fan initially. Thought he was cool.
Mhm.
It was what he was, but you had BG, you had Juvenile, you had the big timers. They really brought that New Orleans sound, and they commercialized it in a way where it was just like, damn, you could really rock to this. And mind you, we weren't even in clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were at home. But so you can only imagine like what that impact was. But I remember I don't know if you remember Marquise. Marquise, who was in our class.
Yeah, I remember.
Marquise, he put me on to Prefix and all that. And during that time, you were kind of seeing this weird evolution with Wayne, where it was just kind of like, I remember the Get Your Shine On verse. And I was just like, Wayne ain't never rapped like this before to me. You know what I'm saying? So it made me kind of have to do a little pre-research on some of the mixtapes and stuff that led up before Carter 2 came out. And then when it came out, I think it was the first album I had heard since, I don't know, DMX, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. For me, that I didn't skip it. I just didn't skip. I just had to hear, word for word. He starts with the mob, and it's just like, what is this? You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and I feel like it had so much importance because of the time period. '03, we had, 50 Cent made that emergence where he had this peak that we had just never seen before. You sell hundreds of thousands of albums week one, and then you sell more week two. It just doesn't normally happen that way. And he had like this gradual growth that, for me, I just felt like, he comes into the game and he's the bully and all this other stuff, and we see all that success. But the question was, how does it flame out? Or what is the progression of it?
Yeah.
And I don't think what people realized when the Carter 2 came out was this is where it was eventually headed. You know what I'm saying? Because after that, we get everything, we get Dedication 2, we get the Drought series, all the stuff that we all know. But people forget about the cultural impact it had. Everybody wanted dreads all of a sudden. Everybody wanted the full sleeve tattoos. I seen the shit.
Yeah.
I was at a party in Owens Mills. The place we were at is redacted. We'll never speak about exactly where it was. Was in there, having a good time. Fireman was on the radio. I'll never forget it because we in this party, and I was still in high school, but it was so many beautiful women at this party. I'll never forget it till the day I die. But they all had like this. It was this thing, like, it just felt like they had ill intent at the party. So they were like hard to approach or whatever. So I didn't really think too much about it. And I recognized somebody I hadn't seen in a while from my previous high school. Dapped them up. We talking. Fireman is playing. This is like the first This is like the beginning of the song.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, yo, energy in here, mad weird, ain't it? And I was just like, yo, I was just saying this. Like, you know, I've been there like 30 minutes. So when the verse comes on, I mean, when the chorus comes on for Fireman, me and my friend T, we realized we were the only two niggas in there that weren't Bloods. And there were red bandanas everywhere. And I'm like, dog, you know, like it tripped me out because I'm like, when the fuck did this happen? You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I've always looked at, you know, looking back on it, looking at the success Wayne has had, regardless of how people feel about him now or whatever, Wayne was Iverson in
Mm-hmm.
so many ways. You know what I'm saying? Like the cultural impact that he had, you know, the swagger and all that he kind of just set. It was just like, damn, he really just kind of dragged that by himself in a way that I didn't think was possible. And what I mean by that is Cash Money was established. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
But he brought Young Money, and a lot of the reason we were going to listen to his, you know, his future artists was off the strength of what he did on 2, what he did on 3, and those mixtapes. But it all started at Carter 2. Carter 2 was like that, like I'm turning the volume up and I'm not turning it back down for anybody. And we had never, to this day, I just feel like as much as appreciated as Wayne is, I just feel like it gets lost in Carter 1 and Carter 2, but specifically the Carter 2 gets lost in like that critical moment that changed Wayne's trajectory from, you know what, a cool artist from a certain region
Mm-hmm.
to a superstar
Mm-hmm.
that's just like, you know what I'm saying, as far as peaks or, you know, how high the artist was, it's probably him, 50, and Drake. You know what I'm saying, in regards to what that is. It's just, we ain't never seen any of those three things, you know what I'm
No,
saying, for
that's
three
dope.
different reasons. And
That's
I
dope.
think it started with the Carter 2. I really
All right.
do.
All right. So let me ask you this. First off, what a great pick! Like, what an amazing pick! Because the for the audience that's listening, I had no idea what album Archie was about to pick, and I found out at the same time that, you know, the audience is finding out. When you said Carter 2, I immediately remembered where I was. Like,
Mm.
when I got the album and when I was listening to it. Like, of course you remember Fireman, like the single, but
Yeah.
listening to the entire album, we'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that. So let me ask you something. So as a whole, right? Uh,
Hmm.
what makes this album stand out as just an amazing body of work to you?
Cohesiveness. It's one of those projects that's, you know, is he telling one specific story? No. Is he trying to do standalone hits? No.
Mm-hmm.
But is he like is he just like enveloped in hip hop? Yes. And for me, I didn't know at that time, at least, Wayne had that angle. You know what I mean? I didn't know he had that type of skill to do that, where it's just like, it's not just about the lyricism. It's not just about the production. It's not just about the wordplay or the cadence. It's about all of it.
Yeah.
Being able to put that together, and somebody from Baltimore City recognizing that, someone from New York recognizing that, someone from, I don't know, Canada recognizing that, where it's just like,
Yeah.
damn, this shit is fire. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And more importantly, I'm recognized all in that while getting to the very last track on the album, the Mob Fly Out, I think it was Fly Out, and just kind of saying, damn, I didn't skip the song. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Does it mean that every time I listen to it, I listen to every song? Not necessarily, but I just didn't feel like there was like a horrible song or a bad song. It's just like, why was this on the project? It just felt like it was just a clean listen. You know what I mean? Even
For
like with
sure.
the singles, excluding like what Fireman is, because Fireman's, you know, that's something to get people hype or whatever the case may be. He
Mm-hmm.
put out oh, what was the name of that record? Hustler Music. Put out Hustler Music.
Yeah.
How many artists were gonna do, you know, do something like that? That's
Yeah.
a Beanie Siegel type move, you know, I'm like feel it in the air, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that element.
Mm-hmm.
But for Wayne to do that, that's crazy. You go and listen to the big timers. You go listen to Juvenile BG, his camp. Like, there's not a bunch of records that are like that, where it's just like he took risks, and it's like he built off the Carter 1 in a way where it was just like you don't normally. you just don't normally get that from a series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was shocked. I was happy,
Mm-hmm.
and at that time, I did not know that we were going to get an avalanche of just a continuation of what he was building off of.
For sure. For sure. Do you remember where you were when you first heard it? I know that's crazy to ask, but do you remember where you were when you first heard that joint?
I do. I was actually in homeroom, um, which is funny. And
do,
there was
do
another boy. You remember Assad?
Of course I remember Assad. Do you remember which homeroom it
Yes.
was? Was it
I
was
I couldn't tell you who the teacher was.
you weren't in our homeroom, were you? Me and
I don't
Travis.
think so. Assad was in mine.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you who was in the homeroom, but he was
Mm-hmm.
about to get in a fight too. And Assad had a shirt that said militant on it. And it was an upperclassman. He told him, he was like, if you so militant, do something about it. And it was funny because he had militant on his shirt. So, and of course, as he was saying that, the mob came on. So I'm just sitting there, hard body, hard body. And this shit was hilarious. But, like, I got a good laugh out of it. And I told Assad later, he thought it was funny.
For sure.
But I just remember I couldn't turn it off. I just couldn't turn it off. I had like one headphone in my ear the entire day, lunch, everything. It was just like, this is the craziest thing ever. And I just felt like I was the only person in that moment that felt
Mm-hmm.
that way because I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
nobody to talk to about it.
Mm-hmm. So
Mm-hmm.
so I'm glad that you talked about the feelings, because then my next question was going to be, uh what are some of the feelings that you felt during during that time of the introduction of that album to you? Like, what were you going through?
I don't think I don't think I was necessarily in any type of elevated state, either high or low.
Okay.
But I do feel like when I heard the mob in particularly, I just felt like I could do anything. You know what I'm saying? It just like it was just like an energy shot where it's just like, damn, he's really, really rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, he just kind of gets your blood boiling in the sense of, yo, I just need to lock in
Mm-hmm.
on whatever it is I need to lock in on. It just felt like if there was anything in my mind that I thought wasn't obtainable, it was obtainable now. And it's
Gotcha.
just like, music can do that, but once again, I wasn't expecting that kind of vibe from a Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? At
Yeah.
that juncture. So it was a pretty standout moment for me, in my music history at least.
Do you remember like what the weather was? Like, do you remember like if it was like summertime, wintertime, fall? You know what I mean? When
Mm,
it came out?
that's that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I do not. I feel like it was gray, but I could be wrong
For sure.
because I don't. I know it came out in like '05, but I don't remember the season that it was. At
Mm-hmm.
the time when it came out.
Got you. Got you.
Hmm.
Because I know '05. If we talking about the beginning of '05, then I was still going to St. Francis. But if we talking about the end of '05 going into '06,
It's
like
fall. It was fall '05 going into
fall.
'06.
So yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
That's how I remember it. So I remember, um, when I dropped out of school, I worked
Hmm.
at Panera Bread, and I remember being back there washing the dishes, like having my headphones
Right.
in, just listening to the Carter over and over again. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Listening to it on the bus, and um, I also remember it being like the fall, because I remember getting on the bus going north, going up Greenmount, and seeing St.
Hmm.
Francis like kids coming down going to school. So I would run into people that we went to school, with. They going to school. I'm on the other side of the street going away from school. So I do remember it being
Right.
like in
Right.
that,
Right.
in that time. But
I mean, it was. I think what people forget for us, well, even like, because that was technically our senior year,
mhm,
the fall of our senior year. School for us starts, late August, early September.
yeah.
I think it was the suffix came out first, and it came out like right around Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
And then this fool dropped dedication I feel like it was the same week the Carter came out. It was one of them things you didn't have time to process what you were listening to.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, if Carter 2 came out February opposed to December
Mm-hmm.
of 2025, people would have been able to sit on both the dedication and the suffix and go like, yo, Wayne he about to kind of do something. You wouldn't have known what it was because the Carter was still the Carter, but it just was one of them things. It was just like the amount of like quality lyricism that we were getting from him in such short pockets it's unprecedented. The only
Yeah.
other people that were doing that at that time was G Unit. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like,
Yeah.
and they were going through their own stuff. So it was like, this is crazy that we were watching a transition and didn't know it was a transition at the time. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that one of the things that stands out with Wayne was the the quantity of music that he was coming out with at the time,
Hmm.
with mixtapes and then like albums, and then you find out later on the reason that he was doing mixtapes was because of like label restrictions on when albums, when the album was supposed to come out. And he even, during that, I don't know if it was between 3 and 4, where he had the
Hmm.
sorry for the wait run. So,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
so then you find out, later on that it was a whole, Lil Wayne and Baby and label situation and him trying to get out of it. And
Yep.
but like I think that run, that Wayne run back then when we were in high school, definitely unprecedented, definitely amazing. And I want to revisit something that you talked about in the party that I noticed
Mm.
as well. But we gonna move on to the next question. We gonna run into it because
Sure, sure.
I definitely want to talk about that. But
Yeah, for sure.
if you could pick one song from the album that sums up the whole album for you, which song would it be and why? I know. I know.
I gotta. I'm a cheat because
Hmm.
I'm a cheat just because I'm the first guest, so I feel like I'm the first guest.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a say the
How,
mob just because
however I let
it
this
sets the
out.
tone.
The Mob.
All
Okay.
right, it's the mob sets the tone that it's in the short list of greatest intros all time for me.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow.
but then the contrast for me is more fire because it's one of those records. That's a Stoner's record all the way.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it just displays the versatility of not only that album, but Wayne. He's still flowing, even though he's laid back, he's chill. He make you feel like you was in Jamaica. I don't even know what Jamaica looked like back then. You know what I'm saying? I know what it was. Bob Marley. That's what Jamaica was to me at that
Right.
point.
Kingston. That's what it
But
was for me.
this nigga, he took me there, and
Hmm.
it's just like to have that to have that versatility to have that kind of clash and contrast throughout an album. Like you don't know that you're gonna hear that after hearing the mob and fly in. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And it's sitting right there. Grown man and all that. It's just like, who is this nigga? Who does he think he is? You know what I'm saying? So it was for me. Those two always are like my shoe-ins for I could listen to those records at any given time for any given reason without any restriction.
Okay. And in contrast would be, what song stands out to you now that didn't stand out to you back then?
It's either Shooter, which I think was a single,
Hmm.
the song with Robin Thicke. Uh, and then the other one, which was turned into a go-go record. Uh, hmm,
Hmm.
what was the go-go record?
I don't know. I'm interested though.
I'm trying to think. You know what? I think that was Carter One. Miss My Dogs was Carter One, wasn't it?
Miss My Dogs was Carter One. Yes, sir.
It was Carter One. That was Carter One. I don't know why I thought
It's
that was Carter
it's
Two.
all good. It's all good.
I think Shooter. I think Shooter for sure.
Why?
Because I heard it. it was like the one I didn't really care for. It was like I get it, and then you hear it later. Well, I heard it like later, maybe in not in like rotation of the album. I might have heard it like on a shuffle or something.
Mm.
So it kind of took me out of the anticipation of knowing it was kind of coming on. So now I'm listening to it like it's a one of one, and it was a single matter. I don't even remember how big of a single it was, but I remember after hearing it, I just felt like I understood the track a lot more in regards to what him and Robin Thicke were kind of doing, because Robin Thicke, that was every black girl's favorite white man at one point. So it was, and I never really understood it, but it was nice. It was a real like chill, cool track where it was just like it really kind of reinforced my narrative that I just don't feel like he had any throwaways on there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Some things just age better with time.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real.
Hmm.
Let me see. Did did the album change? Did the album change how you see yourself?
Mm, no.
No.
Uh, no, I think it was just more, I was more encapsulated with the music itself,
Okay.
but it was something that I could leave there. Cause, for me, I could recognize, who Wayne was, where he comes from, like what he's kind of gone through. And those are things that I could relate to that degree.
Hmm.
But I could understand what he was trying to depict. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You could take away from, what, like, you got to get out here and get this money. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
that, those kind of things I could take, but at the same time, I could leave it there opposed to, mind you, I ain't hating on nobody. Do your thing. I ain't hear that album and just go, I need to go get some dreads tomorrow, man. I need to go get these sleeves, these tattoos.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean?
For
Because
sure.
that's literally what happened in like 2 years.
Now, so
Shit was crazy.
so you did say that when you heard it, it did give you a
Hmm.
it lit a bit of a fire under you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
for
it
sure.
hyped you up. Like I mean, it is hype music. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
did it give you did it give you like a sense of confidence or a bit more confidence that you had before the album?
No, and
Okay.
the reason that I say that is that album, what like that those feelings were temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was something where it's just like I gotta go get that,
Yeah.
and then I go get a D on my math test. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't get it. But that was my fault. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
But
Right.
at the same time, like I'm not gonna deep dive or anything into like anybody else's music.
Ah,
Something like the Black Album would have hit me different. You know what I'm saying? Where I was
understood.
like, it made me go back and listen to Jay-Z's discography. Where I
Okay.
was just like, I feel like I missed so many messages now.
Mm.
Why was I hating this nigga for so long? And then I don't hate him no more. you know, different strokes for different folks,
Right.
but
Right. Right.
you know,
No, I could
it
dig it.
doesn't knock the importance of what Wayne did at that moment because I think we needed it and didn't know it.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, did so I know that the Carter 2, of course, just like a lot of hip hop albums, um, there were samples throughout the album.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the things that I love to do is go I like to go back I like to go back, listen to albums, look at the sample and
Right.
find out what song they sampled from and then listen to that song. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Not just only as a producer, but as a DJ, there are creative ways to take a song that somebody probably never heard and then
Flip it.
flip it while during the set. So is there something did the Carter 2 expand your music dictionary to other music? Like, did it expand your mind to other music? 'Cause, 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 'c
I don't think it expanded, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a subconscious catalyst for
Mm.
things to come.
Okay.
Um, Best Rapper Alive, for example, has guitar riffs in it, and it sampled an Iron Maiden song. I don't, I'm not sure if all the listeners know who Iron Maiden is,
That's
but
they about to find out.
English, yeah, English rock band,
Mm-hmm.
heavy metal. Let
Mm-hmm.
me clarify.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm not even going to try to remember the name of the song off the top of my head, but nonetheless, you hear stuff like that, and whether it gets you hype, whatever case may be, if you like it, I'm a big person for guitar riffs, whether it's in R&B, whether it's in hip hop. Anytime I hear a Future record and I hear that guitar, I'm like, all right, he locked in today.
Yeah.
That's just my thing.
Yeah.
Um, but back then, I don't know if I really appreciated the instruments for some of those samples for what they were. But down the line, you hear more of it,
Mm-hmm.
or you're introduced to something else. Wayne put a rock album out that
I remember that.
most people didn't really care for, Rebirth, and Rebirth had things on it that I liked.
I
I
liked it.
just didn't know if he should have been the person to do all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless,
Mm-hmm.
that opened up an avenue along with the video game called Rock Band, where all of a sudden I was now more inclined to listen. And I was like, damn, there's some really, really good stuff here. And I started to recognize, oh, such and such sampled this, or, where it was just kind of like, damn, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I've known this song my whole life and never knew it until today, that kind of thing. And I do think songs like Best Rapper Alive back then were like integral pieces into doing that.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I know. So um as a DJ, I'm not sure
Mm.
how far back you go, um and what your experiences were as a DJ, but like my experiences with DJing were like the old school classic experience that a lot of DJs from like the 90s and the 80s experienced
Hmm.
with like turntables. So the first thing that they usually experience is their parents' collection of records. So one of the things that I used to love was, taking out a record, listening to it,
Hmm.
and then hearing like a sample that I didn't know even was a sample in a song or in a hip hop album. Like, oh, they sampled that, or oh, they went and trying to
Right.
figure it out. Like, where did they get that from, or trying to figure out like, damn, what hip hop song was this that I heard this piece, that I heard this sample in. Now that
Yep.
we have computers, I am definitely not a sponsor for this website, but whosampled.com is probably one of my favorite like websites to go on, because you can go on Who Sampled, look up any song, and it will give you all of the songs
Yep.
that was sampled from that song. So I know I'm not telling you anything new, Archie, but uh this is just for the
Talking
audience.
to the audience.
Yeah, talking to the audience, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
yeah, so Who Sampled is definitely that
for sure.
it's that
For sure.
website. But how often do you listen to the album now?
It's never left my rotation. I do have a good number of albums or just songs in general that I listen to, but it's never really left my rotation since I heard it.
Okay.
Certain albums you just can't. For me, it's just it's not that you can't let them go. It's just like, why would you? If it ages as well as you remember it, it's not nostalgia at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
People like to glorify the '90s and be like, oh man, the '90s was such a. And I was like, yeah, go ahead and hit up Park Heights in 1993. You're gonna see Fourth of July fireworks, and there was no fireworks. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but for me, it holds the test of time, where it's just like it sounds no different than when I first heard it,
Yeah.
in like a way without me being like in awe, but where it's just like this is premium music for me. You know
For
what I'm
sure.
saying? Where it's just like I can judge this body of work off of somebody else in a similar vein.
For sure.
JID, he puts an album out. I can judge him off a Carter 2. Not saying was it like the Carter 2, but did he put his best foot forward?
Yeah,
Like, was, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, was this as cohesive? Were the clips as cohesive? You know, that kind of thing. Where it's
Hmm.
like you want to have more albums put into that bracket or that tier that you can just continue to talk about.
For sure, for sure.
Hmm.
Um, I do want to go back for just for a moment. Like I just want to touch on
For
this.
sure.
Um, you reminded me about the impact of Wayne, that particular album, along with the collection of mixtapes that changed uh, the culture in Baltimore, at least in a negative way, where I had forgotten about, which was the uptick in gang culture. Like
Hmm.
there were so many, there were Bloods, there were rags hanging out of pockets, there were, there were the Bloods, the Crips, the Black Gorilla family. And then it even got to a point where like I would see different color rags hanging out of people's pockets. Like, well, what are y'all? And it'd be like a tan rag hanging out of the left pocket or something like that, like the front pocket. Like, well, what are y'all? We a whole new gang. This just started
Yep.
in Baltimore on this side of the street. Like, so I do remember the particular line that it was the line that made me understand the rag situation. I don't think it wasn't Wayne. It was actually Snoop Dogg, which was
Mm.
I got my rag hanging out the left side. That's the Crip side. And
That's
I
the Crip
and
side.
I just
Yep.
I just butchered that. I just butchered that line. It's definitely verbatim. It's not a quote, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like seeing the rag hanging out the right side and understanding gang code, like that wasn't knowledge that we ever needed to have until like that time. Because if you remember, do you remember wearing do rag? I mean, wearing like a do rag with a bandana tied around that do rag that Cash
Yeah.
Money brought in like I would say like in the 99
You
and
were
the
gonna say the
2000s,
nine
the
nine
9
two
and the
thousand.
2000s. but like it was we would wear that to match our outfit. You know what I mean? Like we would wear it to match our
Yeah.
outfit, and then it got to a point in like 2005, 2006 where you couldn't be caught on the bus with a bandana or any type of
You couldn't be caught with the color.
you couldn't be caught with the color. So it was like
Wearing red was crazy for like a good 2 years, where it was just kind of like, for me, it was like, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like,
right,
I've had these shoes for 4 years. The soles are still good. What you talking about? Like that
yo,
kind of thing.
yo,
But it wasn't worth the trouble. And like, I tell people all the time, like, I mean, where we were at. And
mm-hmm.
it's just like, you know, I got an off camera story I'm
Wait,
not gonna say the name,
for sure.
but I'm gonna tell you the story. It was my junior year
Wait, hold on.
at
Are you telling the story right now? Because this is still being recorded.
hell yeah, it's funny.
Okay, go ahead.
Junior year, took my man down to March Madness.
Okay.
Um, we had a good time, all that good stuff, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But it was time to roll. My dad actually came down there to pick us up, and it was late.
Mm.
But we walked out the back, and we walked out the back door. It's a little parking lot there. So we walked back out there. There were a couple kids, and they were like, "No, no, no, no!" And we kind of startled by them, or whatever the case may be. And what happened was the door locked behind us, and we didn't know. So
Oh.
we all sitting there. I was like, "Well, I ain't worried about it." We just walk around the side and just walk back out front. Everybody, the let out was out front.
Mm-hmm.
So as we saying this busted ass car pulls into the parking lot. There's no other cars in this parking lot, and they put the high beams on. And I'm like, oh man. And my man was like, what? And I said, we about to get robbed, Joe. Because we ain't got nowhere to go. And I'm like, we can jump over this little thing and try to book it, but the headlight thing kind of fucked us up because you couldn't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
So as this happened, I looked at him, he looked at me. I was just like, we might as well just book it and just take our chances. We probably can get to the let out before that car can peel out the parking lot and have to hit the corner to, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As we saying that, Coach O opens the door. All the kids run back inside, right? So I'm like, damn, this is crazy. This is like it was crazy because this is my first year at St. Francis, and it was just like I had never been in no situation like that because I know everybody, so I felt comfortable moving where I was moving. Yo, we go out front. My friend, scared white as a ghost, yo, and like he ain't no bitch or nothing like that. It's
Yeah.
just he ain't never been in no situation like that, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I've been in similar ones, but I had never been in that.
Yeah.
We get up front, the busted car is like right in front of us. Pulls up as we were walking out front. He almost fainted. It was the funniest thing. The first dude that gets off the passenger seat is somebody that was in my creative writing class. And this is what he said. So, oh man, was that you out back? And I said, yeah, nigga, like, was he about to rob us? He was just like, man, he's about to rob the shit out of y'all. He said this, hold on, but this the kicker. He say, yeah, but I was gonna give you your shit back because you my man's or whatever. And me and him are arguing in front of the car, not like arguing like upset, but
Right.
like
But like,
playful arguing.
yeah.
And my friend looking at me like, don't you ever invite me to this motherfucking school again? And it was one of those things where like I always think about like Wayne and all this other stuff where it was like I never felt like what he was doing with gang culture was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It was just he was so goddamn relatable to people
Mm-hmm.
that if they was in that life or whatever, or they wanted to be a part of that life, it was almost like he was an entry
Yes,
to
sir.
whatever. I told you, I heard the mob, I can do whatever I want. Niggas heard the mob and said, I can be a blood. That's exactly what happened.
For
Because
sure.
Crips, there were very few number of Crips. We've always been Black Guerrilla Family in our jails, and
Mm-hmm.
MS-13's always been everywhere. And
Right.
there's been Bloods and other gangs, but they weren't as
It was.
big. And then when this nigga happened,
They
it
were
was
like
everywhere.
sub. They were
It was
like
everywhere.
subcategory. It was like a
Yeah, man.
subcategory of
Super.
the Bloods. It was like,
For sure. For
yeah.
sure.
And it wasn't a lot where it was like we saw them. Like I know that they existed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like during that time, it was like, oh shit, we can come out now. Like we can come out and play now. And you would see them, Owens Mills, the Owens Mills
Oh
parties,
my lord, man. Yep.
the West Side parties, the East Side parties, whether it be like a house party or wherever. It was. I just remember like they came out in waves. Like it was just a bunch of them, and it's just like wow, like this is
Yeah.
what's happening right now. This is where we live. Like Baltimore always been Baltimore, but it's like now we adding another
Layer.
oh my gosh, yo. Like but yeah.
And to make it even to bring that point home,
Mm-hmm.
that same stuff was happening at Eastern Shore. Like
Oh,
I
for
went to
sure.
Eastern Shore, I went to UMES,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like the locals in those areas, they were all Bloods, or they were all their version of Bloods, and it was just like you asked some of the upperclassmen, he was like, and they weren't doing this shit 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
But the problem was they were hurting people. There were people that got killed.
Mm-hmm.
It was some serious things that happened down there, and it just shows you just like how fragile all of it is. Where it's just like it can just change in an instant. And sometimes
Yeah.
people had that little flag, they roll in 30, 40 deep, and they feel so empowered, they start doing stupid shit anyway.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I felt bad for people like Wayne because it's like if he's a part of that, there's this certain level of glorification that was coming with it. But I never felt like his intention was recruiting. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's not saying that's what happened, but that's basically what happened. People felt like he's a Blood, I can be one too. You know what I'm saying? And it just took off in a way where it was just like it was everywhere for a solid minute. It was like a 5 year run. Everybody was Blood, and then it was popular in rap culture to really just kind of throw up your set for real, where it was just like we always had.
Yeah,
rappers did. Mm.
that was either like Bloods or either a part
Yeah,
of gangs
yeah,
or gang affiliated. But
for sure.
but I want to
It was
wrap this.
commercialized now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you know Lil Bow Wow
Yes,
throwing
sir.
throwing like that's what's up. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Even
sir.
even Lil Bow Wow throwing it up. But
Chris Breezy, man.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. But all right, probably this is going to be the last question, but like the most difficult
For sure.
question. If you could take one song from the Carter to introduce it to a person that's never heard it, which song would that be?
The mob. The mob. That
the
wasn't even. I
mob
didn't
is
even
the
think about
the
that.
mob is the song. So the very first joint, like yo, this is
It's over. Did, did somebody ask me why do you listen to the Carter 2? I'm playing the mob.
got you,
I'm just gonna watch. I'm gonna watch their face.
got you.
Like lie to me and tell me this is bad. Please do. So I don't have to talk to you no more.
Right, right. I could dig it. I could dig it. Well,
you know. Yeah.
we gonna wrap it right there, brother. I appreciate
Appreciate it.
you. I really appreciate it, man.
Anytime.
And until next time. Until next time. This has been the Digital Recipe Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.